I feel like we've gotten to a good place with these characters. I feel like we've gotten to a point where, they've started to communicate and they've started to talk about their feelings for the first time in 3 years. And I am just happy to be privy to everything. A lot happened in the past two episodes, and so I thought I would continue on my review of When the Phone Rings because I am honestly obsessed. And I can't seem to think about anything else. So here we are. For those who don't know, I have covered all the way up to episode 4. So check that out first before listening to this episode where I cover episode 5 and 6. Thankfully, this drama was not cancelled again this week because for those who don't know, this drama was cancelled last week because of the political conflict that is currently going on in South Korea with their president and the martial law and everything. If you're watching this off season, like you're watching this when this is not on air, you're kind of lucky. But for people like me that we are watching this as it's airing and following it week to week, honestly, it's been a journey. I feel like it's really a personal, like, you know how you feel like some things are just like meant to hurt you personally. That's how I feel when I heard that this drama was cancelled last week, because I was like, why is it the drama that I am so excited for? Why is it the drama that I am just dying to watch that ends up being cancelled, right? And I was really scared, almost paranoid that they would actually end up canceling this because it's very like politically adjacent in terms of plot and everything. But luckily, Korea is not super strict about like things like that, right? Very, very rarely do they cancel dramas because of its plots. I think I've only seen this happen like twice, and so it's not very common, and it's not like how it is with the Chinese dramas that the Chinese government has direct say on what airs and what does not. This one, despite the fact that our leads are working for the presidential office, and someone in the like story is running for president and all that like nice stuff, it's still allowed to air, and so I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, we finally got episode 5 and 6, and a lot of things has happened, and we just have to talk about them because like this drama is like, I don't know, it's just perfect in a lot of ways, and it's just the perfect drama to end 2024, honestly, for me at least. But yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it and the things that I noticed about this like episodes that just aired, and why this drama is still kind of my favorite, and just basically every thought I've had since the last two episodes aired. So where we are at now, Iju has gotten the job at the presidential office, and so she started as a sign language interpreter, and she's obviously working with her husband and everything. And you can see how this is going to be a problem down the line for a bunch of reasons. One, let's just be honest, she's lucky a nepo baby in the sense that like the fact that her husband was one of our interviewers is problematic enough, right? Like if this was like a like real world scenario, I mean, let's be honest, real world as well, no one cares in terms of like if you are wealthy, if you are powerful, you can get away with anything. But technically this would not be allowed, even though yeah, like nothing happened and everything, but it's a very hard thing to prove, and it's still something that will, at least in the initial release of it, cause a scandal, right? And so that's one thing that I'm like, it's actually kind of funny that technically I was one told her about the interview beforehand, and she was able to prepare beforehand. Not that it matters or anything, but I'm just like coming up with articles. You know how like that reporter was coming up with articles against like Vexound, and I'm coming up with my own articles that I would use against him, and this would have been the title. Like the fact that she knew before a lot of people did, that is a minus, and that is what it's scandalous, I feel like. But yeah, anyways, she's now working at the presidential office, and everything is going well. I assume that it's going to be a problem because already if you look at like the co-workers and everything, they already think something is weird about their relationship. They are more touchy-feely. He's somebody that's obviously a serious person, and so the fact that he's suddenly like really into this new hire is very, very odd, right? And a lot of them are already noticing it. And there's one of his like workers, or he's one of his like colleagues that's always like trying to shut it down when they mention this. They're all like, oh, they have such good chemistry, and he's like, what do you mean chemistry? He's a married man and everything. And it's just funny because I imagine this being a scandal, and I just can't wait. It's going to be delicious when it's revealed that she's actually his wife. But anyways, I like how, they've gotten to a good place in their relationship because he's now figured out that she's the one low-key blackmailing him and the one that's been calling him this whole time. He used that to kind of figure out what she wants, right? Normally I thought he would have been like a little angry and everything, but like he was actually very nice about it. He used that to like figure out like what she wants and use that to kind of like get info indirectly, and I just love that, right? And so the fact that that was kind of a way for them to communicate is very lovely. I like it, and I like the fact that I can see that he's gonna start trying because now he knows that she's actually interested in the relationship, and she also, because he got drunk and wasted and confessed that he liked her, she also knows that he likes her. So they are kind of in a good spot, as a couple. They are not there yet, but they are getting there, right? It's just amazing. I love how he loves her. He's so in love with her. I like where he's just stunned when she wears the dress and he's just like looking at her and just he's stunned, right? And I always feel bad in moments like this because usually like the lead is always talking to somebody on the phone, and when the like female lead comes in, the male lead just like drops the phone and I just wonder the person that's on the other line, what are they thinking? Because like obviously the person they're talking to is just like not responding, but that's what happens here. And basically he's just taken aback by how beautiful she is. And one thing that's actually really cute about this drama, just like little points, because this drama is really good at putting in details, is the fact that when he's trying to figure out what gift to get her, he asks his colleagues, right, like what is a good gift to get someone that's starting a new job, right? And they're all giving ideas. They are like new iPhone, and he's like, she already has the latest new laptop, and he's like, she already has that too. And it's just like, like Baek takes care of his wife. Even the bag that I think she used during the retreat, I think it was packed by him because she had all sorts of things in there that I don't think she even knew that they were there, right? Because he packed for her, right? And it's just like acts of service. Come on, like it's beautiful, right? He doesn't say a lot, but he does a lot, right? And I love that about this like couple. One thing I will say with the retreat though is that and this is an issue I have with a lot of dramas that have like serious male leads, right? They will like insert a part where you kind of see him be a clown. You kind of see him do things that don't fit his personality. So that happens a lot at the retreat, right? He does a lot of things that give me secondhand embarrassment. And so I had to like skip through those parts because I was like, this is not the Baek that's in my mind. My Baek is completely different, and I will not allow his image to be ruined in my mind. So that's something that I was like, I don't really buy this. Or I mean, it makes sense that obviously he's not serious all the time, and he's kind of giddy because he's with her and everything. But I would like my male lead to be serious all through, but obviously this is a romantic comedy to an extent. Even though it has like thriller and suspense and everything, it's still romance, so they're trying to like cater towards that. But I would have liked him to have been a serious character for like the whole run of this, and just to have those moments where he's kind of soft with her, but not necessarily like a different person. I feel like they made him a different person in those scenes. It's not a big deal, whatever. But yeah, I remember like skipping through this because I was like, this is kind of embarrassing. I can't watch this. I get second embarrassment so quickly. So yeah, that was one moment I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna skip through that. But yeah, another thing with the retreats and coming to like one of the main points in this is like, who pushed her off that cliff, guys? Who do you guys think pushed her off? I feel like to an extent they are misleading us, because if it's the secretary, because I feel like that's what everybody thinks, like if it's the assistant that's been helping Baek this whole time, I feel like that is too obvious, like I feel like that is what everybody is saying. That is what we all expect, or what we all expect to be the one that's like doing all these things. And I feel like it's just too obvious. Like I feel like he's a red herring, that I'm like, it has to be somebody else that's helping that guy that's like the fish butcher and everything, right? It has to be somebody else, because like to an extent the assistant, it's just so too obvious, right? Like, and also because at some point in like episode either 5 or 6, one of the colleagues mentions the fact that the assistant was brought in with Baek. That is, Baek brought him like almost as a package deal. So it's somebody that Baek has known for a while. So I feel like to an extent, it might not be him, even though it seems like it will be him. Because again, if you think about the fact that like our second male lead is doing all this investigation and everything, they mentioned that like there's an orphan missing, like one of the twins and everything, right? I feel like it's possible for him to be one of the twins, but I feel like he might be the good one and there's like a bad one, if that makes it. Like, this is me like trying to speculate what it was or what it is, right? But yeah, I don't know what it is. Everybody is just thinking it's the assistant, and I'm kind of still skeptical about that fact. I don't know why. He just seems like such a good person, even though we don't know a lot about his character, right? It just seems like, because Baek trusts him so much, I would not expect him to trust him this much, and he will not be trustworthy, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's something that I'm kind of a little unsure about, right? But yeah, another thing that I liked in this 2 episodes that just aired is the fact that we see their childhood days. I like the fact that we see why he became fond of her. He was obviously struggling a lot at home, and she was too as well. And I think she was his moment of respite to an extent, and that's why, he's like this into and everything, right? Because obviously there's a lot going on with his own childhood as well. Which actually brings me to my main point in this episode and what I want to talk about, because there's one thing that I'm just unsure about. So to an extent, I feel like it's been alluded to the fact that Baek is not the real Baek, right? It's not even been alluded. We know, because like we see this scene, right, where Baek's parents are talking, and clearly the mom is drunk because she's like thinking about a kid, his anniversary or something like that, right? And the couple talk about the fact that losing that son was like freedom for them, and we understand why when the second male lead is talking about like the old thing and the old investigation he's doing. He mentions the fact that that boy that's in the like mansion and everything clearly is like psychopathic, right? There's something about him, he wants to cut up the cat and everything. He cuts off fishes and all this terrible stuff, right? And we assume that's Baek, right? And it tracks given how the parents, or the dad at least, reacted and called his either death, or I don't know what it was that happened to the boy, freedom for them, because obviously he was being locked in. Like you see this scene where the mom is locking him in that room, right? So there's obviously like something going on with that boy, right? And that's kind of the big mystery of what happened. Definitely, I think to an extent, the Baek we know is not Baek, because we also see the scene where, again, when he comes out of his house and he sees Hiju, learning sign language from her window. You can tell he's been running away from some things. You can tell that, in the same way the mom is making him eat fish because her son likes fish. That's what she says. She does not say, you like fish, So to an extent, it's something that they've been hinting at all this while. And I think we can kind of safely assume that Baek is not the real Baek, right? Maybe the original Baek, right, killed one of the twins, and so the other twin is either maybe getting revenge, something like that. But obviously he doesn't know, like the other twin does not know that Baek has actually changed, right? That's my own guess. I'm sure there's something else in play here that I'm missing. But then, given that fact, right, who is the Baek we know now? Right? Who is our press secretary, our presidential spokesperson? Who is the person that, is married to Iju, right? Because this is where it gets interesting to me. The Baek we know, the Baek that is married to Iju, the serious guy, the well-read, very, smart person that we know, is not scared of anybody. Like, have you guys noticed that? Like, he is so confident in himself, right? Baek is. He is so, like, sure of himself. He's so confident. He's so smart. He's able to, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, he does not seem like the kind of person that, because my guess would have been like, okay, maybe he's a guy that they got from the orphanage that they used to switch out like the Baek kind of thing, right? Because to an extent, I think he also knows he's not the real Baek, right? Because you see that scene where he tries to comfort Iju from the fact that, she's the one that has been making this calls all this while, but he changes his mind because he has secrets too. So he knows that he's not the real Baek. That's my guess, right? So why is he so confident in himself. Because again, this is a rich family, right? This is a family where you had the scene where the grandpa is obviously like, this is a flashback and we are only hearing a voiceover where the mom is looking at the picture of the grandpa and you hear him say that like we can't have like a dirty spoon or something like that in the family, right? And she spits on his like picture, right? So to an extent, this family that he comes from is very like classist. They are like wealthy, everything. I feel like they're not just gonna let anybody in. And if they did, like they would have broken down his spirit to an extent. Because again, if you're adopted and you know you're adopted, right? The way you act is going to be kind of like you are kind of sucking up to people. Like you've all seen these dramas, right? Where like the adopted kid is always like sucking up, because he's illegitimate and all that thing it's a fear for him. But in this case, our character Baek is not like that. He talks to anybody, he looks anybody in the eye. Did you see the scene where he's basically telling his dad that like, I'm not gonna help you with anything, right? Like you're gonna have to do this all on your own, right? And because again, everybody wants him to join the campaign, and it seems like everybody's trying to pull him to their side. So he has some power. So I am wondering, then who is he? Which comes to, and this is just my guess, he has to be somehow related to them. If he's this confident in himself, he is this like sure and everything, he has to be related to this family anyway, like the Baek family, right? In a way that none of them can do anything to him, even his dad, right? And I have concluded after multiple scenes and rewatching this multiple times, I've concluded that he's most likely, and this is, and actually I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I've concluded that he might be related to the grandfather directly. You know why? Because there's that scene where Baeksan's dad and Iju's dad are in the shooting range. At one point, Iju's dad mentions the fact that Baeksan, and this is just him praising Baeksan, obviously, right? He mentioned that Baeksan is a lot like his grandfather, and you see the way Baeksan's dad's face changed, almost like he was pissed that he mentioned that, fact, right? Almost like, why would you say that? Even though, like, it's something to be proud of. Like, actually, my son is a lot like his grandfather, like my dad. Like, it's something to be proud of. So why was he so pissed in that moment? Which tells me, right? Because again, you see how they all treat him. You see how his mom treats him. She treats him not like a son, not equal either, but somewhere that, is teachable, but maybe like I don't know how to explain it, right? She doesn't treat him like he's less than her, but she also does not treat him like he's her son. Same for the dad, right? The dad, it looks like he hates him, right? And the only reason why dad would hate him would be if he's a threat to him in some way. Because if Baeksan was just like his illegitimate kid, there's no reason for him to hate him. You get? Like, if he was just a kid that is from his mistress or anything, there's no reason why he would hate Baeksan. In fact, it would be the mom that would hate him, and he would be the one trying to like cuddle Baeksan. But neither of them are trying to cuddle Baeksan. They both dislike him to an extent, right? So I'm thinking that, given that scene, it's more likely that Baeksan is actually the grandfather's kid, illegitimate child, which makes him his dad's actual brother. So they're actually brothers, right? In that sense, right? So this is my like tinfoil arts, possibly delusional take on this, because there's no other explanation as to why Baeksan would be this confident, right? Baeksan does not have a humble bone in his body. And if he was an orphan, he would. And I'm not saying that orphans always have that, but if you knew you were adopted, which I think he does, right? Because again, he looks like he has a secret, right? If he does, and that is the secret, there has to be a reason why he's as bold, assertive, and just like, in control as he is. Because otherwise it makes no sense, So that is my 2 cents thought on that part. But yeah, that's guys, you see how this drama has got me like overthinking things. I am like overthinking everything because I watched it so many times already. And yeah, but I feel like it makes sense. I feel like, there's no reason why the grandfather's character will be there, and there's also no reason why the grandfather will mention the dirty spoon. Why would he let an orphan become the heir to all their wealth and everything if he wasn't actually part of the family. So Baeksan cannot be enough, and I feel like it just does not make sense. So yeah, that's my guess, guys. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think pushed her off the cliff? And what do you think Baeksan is? That's the only two things I need to solve here. That's all that my mind is thinking about. And I'm sure I'm right. I have to be right because there's no other explanation for this. But yeah, that's really all I have in this episode. Clearly you can see that I'm enjoying this drama very, very much. I hope you guys are too. I always enjoy talking about this, and once I log off here, I will go back on my drama list and scroll through the comments because that is all I do every day. And that is like my new obsession. Like, this drama is everything right now. So yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.